Hey everyone, welcome to lesson 8. Wanted to make a quick video introducing you to it. Hopefully you've already been into it because it's Tuesday and you've got stuff due tomorrow. So this is the overview page where I always like to start out and come down to the activity calendar. And as you can see, we've got, this is the activities, this is when they're due. So we've got our normal exercise part A and quiz A that are due midweek, and then you're preparing for gathering as well. That's not an assignment, you just need to be prepared for gathering. And you can go in there and see if there's any specific instructions on what you need to prepare for. And then by the end of the week, everything else is due. There's really no tricky things this week. We don't have any portfolio assignments or spreadsheets or anything like that to turn in this week. So in that way, it's kind of a break. However, we are still, I hope you're still reading your financial book for your financial book review. Okay, so we're into week 8 now, and at the end of week 12, we will be turning in your book report, finished. So that means you've got like 3.5 weeks to get this puppy done. So if you haven't finished reading your book yet, make sure that you're staying on top of it. You need to finish your book and search paper. Okay, that's enough harping about that. Also about the book review, we do have, I'm kind of starting at the bottom here, but I'll come back up to the top in a minute. We have a book review quiz, and let me just show you what it looks like. Here it is. Okay, so there's 6 questions. What did you choose to read? Did you attend gathering and share about your book review assignment? So this week in gathering, you should be sharing with one another what you're learning about in your book, what book you're reading, what you liked about it. Oh, hey, look at that. What have you liked about the book that you've chosen, and what have you learned? What have you disliked about the book you chose? What did you learn from your classmates reading their books? And do you commit to finishing your book? So not hard questions. There's really not right and wrong answers. I mean, there kind of is. I bet you don't get points if you say I don't commit to finishing my book because, you kind of already have committed to it. So hopefully you don't cop out yet. And then you need to attend gathering, obviously, to get points. But as far as these ones, just be honest and put stuff in there. Please try to avoid saying nothing or all of it. Actually express what it is that you liked. I guess not in that one, but in these ones, what is it that you liked or didn't like, or what is it that you learned? Okay, so enough of that. So that is your book review quiz due at the end of the week. 6 questions, should not be hard. I hope everybody completes it. It should not be a hard thing, and you don't have to wait till the end of the week to do it. You can go log on right now, and everybody can go I guess not right now. You gotta wait till after Thursday. So as soon as you get home from your gathering or the next day, you can log on, complete that thing. It'll take you, all of 5 minutes or less, and you'll be finished with that. Okay. All the rest of the assignments are as usual. I just wanted to show you, and I'm going to start doing this every week. This week we are into linear equations and applications. So here's exercise A. Okay. Hopefully you guys have already been working on this because it's due tomorrow. So you can use remember that that notes page that you could use on exam 2 that has all the volume and area and all those formulas for all the shapes and all those doodads. You can continue to use that on your quizzes and homeworks and exams from now on. So if you don't have these things memorized, that's okay. Look at that sheet if you have to. But look at this, it's actually given to you right there. So the formula V equals length times width times height. Okay, so then it's giving you the length, the width, and the height. All you gotta do is multiply those together, and that is your volume. Okay, so that's your volume for those. Same thing here. You just plug it in the variables. And that's not necessarily something new to you guys, I don't think. At least by this point in this semester, this should not be new to you because we just did it on the exam where you had some questions where you had to plug in the variables and solve. That's basically all you're doing here. You have 1/2 times height times base times whatever the other b stands for. I forget, slant or something. But at any rate, you'd plug in 15 for the big B, 10 for the little b, 7 for the h, and solve it. Okay, and that's how you do those. Simplify. These ones, you don't even have to solve for it. You're not necessarily solving for what is x. You're just making this equation the smallest you can make it. Okay, so for example, right here, I'll just show you guys real quick on this one. So for example, I'm going to do number 7 here with you, okay, just to show you what it is, in case there's any of you that are not remembering at the moment. So to solve this, or to simplify this, we're simplifying. You have 2 times everything in that parentheses plus 5 times everything in that parentheses. Okay, so remember your order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. In case any of you haven't heard of that, that's the order of operations. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. That is the order in which you should be doing all this stuff. So that's important when you're solving equations too. It's really important right here when you're simplifying these, because that's all you're pretty much doing, is using the order of operations to make these as small as you can. Okay, you're not going to solve for x. I don't think any of these, you're not going to solve for x. But, okay, so we'll start parentheses. Okay, well, 3 plus x, that's all that we can't get it any smaller because we don't know what x is. Same thing over here, x minus 7, we can't simplify that anymore because we don't know what x is. So that is as small as it can get so far. All right, exponents, we don't have any. Multiplication, we do have that. We have 2 times everything in here and 5 times everything in here. So you might be tempted to go 2 times 3 and 5 times x. Well, that's true, but that's only half of it. So you're going to go 2 times 3 is 6 plus 2 times x, because you're multiplying by everything in the parentheses. And since you can't combine those, you got to multiply 2 by the 3 and 2 by the x. So then you also get 2x. Over here, you'll do the same thing, 5 times x. So you got plus, right? So you got plus because of this right here, plus the 5 times x, which is 5x, minus 5 times 7, which is, brain fart, 35. Hopefully it's 35. Now you can add and subtract. So there's nothing to divide. Now you can add and subtract like terms. By like terms, I mean, if it's just a number, 6 and 35, you can add and subtract those. 2x and 5x, you can add and subtract those. It's because that's, you're saying you have 2 x's and you're adding 5 x's to it. It's kind of like when you were little and the teacher said you have 2 apples and you add 5 more apples, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to start with the x's. We have 2x plus 5x, so we're going to have 7x altogether, right? 7 x's. And we're going to have 6, that's positive 6, minus 35. So that will bring us to minus 29. I chose to do it in this order because I could see that this is bigger than this. So I could tell that I was going to have minus something. Now, if I had done that differently, if I had decided to do that number first, and I came up with, okay, so it's negative 29. Okay, now I'm going to say plus 2 plus 5x, so plus 7x. That's also correct. Negative 29 plus 7x, or 7x minus 29. Those are both correct. Okay, I think this one looks neater, aside from my crappy handwriting. But aside from that, I think this looks neater just because you're not starting out with a negative. But they're both correct. So that's simplifying. Okay? And so that's all you're going to do for these. And if, you might come across some like in this one. Whoops, I'm not on that thing anymore. In this one, you got some x squareds thrown in there and in. So you can add everything that's, 5. Well, once you get to the last two steps, right, the add and subtract, you can add and subtract something if it's just a number in front of in or a number in front of x squared, but you may not. What you may not do is, let me get in here, if you have 3x, and this isn't any of these problems, okay? I'm just showing you. If you have 3x plus 4x minus 5x squared, these two you may add. 3 plus 4x, that's 7x, okay? You may not subtract the 5 from the 7 and make it 2x. That's not allowed. Because this isn't 5x, this is 5x squared. Okay, so this is going to be a different variable since it's got that squared. And if it, and it could have maybe to the third power or to the fourth or 32nd or whatever. Hopefully that's clear as mud for you. There's an example there for, what is this, solving. Okay. So you're going to solve these, and they're just a little bit more complicated, but they're really not that much more complicated. Remember, everything you do to one side, you do to the other side. So, for example, well, you can barely see that, but it says 7/3 times t equals 14. So if you multiply by 3 on this side, that'll cancel out that 3 on the bottom. Then you have to multiply on 3 on this side. Then you can divide by 7 on this side, and that gets rid of the 7 on top and leaves you with just t. Then you have to divide by 7 over here. Okay, so remember that what you do to one side, you also have to do to the other side. And if you have a 3 on the top and a 3 on the bottom, those can cancel out. And let me show you real quick what I'm talking about there. Some of you are like, yeah, I already know this, but some of you may have forgotten. So for example, if you've got something like, 2 times 3 on the bottom, and on the top you have 6 times 7 times 3, okay, well you can cancel these out, so then it's just 6 times 7 over 2. And maybe you had, like that on the bottom too, that's a 6. If it was 2 times 3 times 6 over 6 times 7 times 3, now you can cancel out the 6's too, and you're just left with 7 over 2. So that's another trick to remember. Not really a trick, but another thing to remember. Okay, so solve for this specified variable. So these ones where you have multiple variables, you're not going to get a number. You're not going to get b equals a number. There's no numbers in this one. M or y equals mx plus b. That's the generic formula for a line, for a straight line. But anyways, you're not going to plug in numbers for this. It just wants you to say, what does b equal? Well, b is going to equal something with a bunch of letters in it, right? You just got to get everything on one side except for b. And so it says b equals something. That's the point there. All right, and so here's exercise B, kind of, more of the same stuff. This one here, you're gonna see that one a couple times throughout the semester if you haven't already, but if you find the area of the rectangle, find the area of the circle, and subtract the area of the circle from the area of the rectangle, and you will get your answer. Okay? So again, use your formulas from the formula sheet if you've forgotten how to do that. And, all of this is just more practice. See, there's something kind of like that again in the reverse. So give me an email if you have any questions about anything, and I hope you guys have a good